6 centuries. The world is how it is, because that's how people want it to be. Got my mom in 3 jobs just to make ends meet, because the government don't give a damn if poor folks eat. Got my brother stabbed up in the street last week, because another brother needed Nikes on his feet. Got my older cousin overdosing on cocaine. Since COINTELPRO, the ghetto ain't the same. Have my homie take a bullet to the back of the brain. NYPD wanted somebody to blame. We are living in the material world, living and dying in the material world, living, working, dying in the material world, like spiritually anorexic boys and girls. So I'm locked up again, thinking I was done with this part of my life. I never had any desire to get my stripes, my street cred. I was trying to, do something else in my life, right? And when they put me in Bronx Central booking to have 3 warrants out, 2 misdemeanors and a felony. I'm wanted for grand larceny and my boss, aka Bryonn Bain, right? I'm 5'9" and 6'2". I'm dark-skinned and light-skinned, right? I'm all these things simultaneously. And I come to talk to my lawyer. And it was an unbelievable experience on many levels because it moved me around. I went from Bronx Central booking to a place called the VCBC, the Bryonn Bain Correctional Center, a prison boat off of Hunts Point in the Bronx. The Bryonn Bain Correctional Center. My name is Bryonn Bain. They put me on the Bain boat. They put me on a prison boat, a slave ship, named after white folks who own my ancestors. I was like, damn, what better way to be like, boy, know your place. I see a 19-year-old kid get beat down, because he wanted to get strip search. Everybody else fell in line after that, One of the most dehumanizing experiences I've ever had, you know what I'm saying? Somebody screaming at you with a big baton in their hand, spread your ass cheeks, open wide. I mean, I'm a professor at NYU at this point, right? Didn't mean anything there. I should have made anything. I had done nothing wrong. That's what should have really mattered. I go through the system. Finally, the public defender that comes to represent me, as the Constitution demands should happen. Couldn't get a hold of him on the phone. This, elusive phone call that everybody wants to get. The public defender comes in to see me. She sees me with plastic gloves and a surgical mask on her face. And I had seen her walking back and forth inside of the bars. The prison felt like a plantation, right? Everybody on this side was black, brown, you had your one token white dude in the corner, right? But everybody on the other side was mostly white, right? It was just one or 2 black hot fields, but you felt the segregation was there, right? And when I saw her walking by, I thought maybe she had something she didn't want us to get. Turns out it was the other way around. So she sits me down, Allison Webster, blonde ponytail, tight tie, plastic gloves, and a blue surgical mask, and she says to me, "This doesn't add up, Mr. Bain. Your age and graduating class." I said, "Miss, I skipped 2 years before college. I finished kind of fast." She said, "Well, when did you finish high school?" I was 15, my senior year, back in '91. Where'd you go to college? Went to Columbia. How'd you pay for that? Scholarships, loans, like mostly everyone. Where'd you live when you went there? Shapiro Hall, the campus? You save a law degree too? Yeah. After Columbia, I went to NYU. How'd you pay for all these degrees you pursued? I actually got my master's on a full ride. My mom's insisted I had to. That's nothing new. That's what immigrant kids get guilt trips to do. I actually have a law degree from Harvard too. Then why didn't you respond to these notices before today? I said, "Miss, I never knew about them. I spent the last month away. I was down in South India looking for some of my fam. Never found them. I probably should have stayed inhaling that good-ass Gulab Jamun. you know? Ready to recap and summarize all these facts. She's done listening. Allison Webster puts her pen down and says to me, "It is my professional obligation to inform you, as not only an attorney, but also as a registered nurse, specializing in mental illness, you may have a bipolar disorder." It's nothing bad. You've never been to India. You didn't graduate from Columbia or Harvard. You don't teach at NYU. Frankly, I'm not sure anything you told me is true. Sometimes people create alternate realities for themselves as a coping mechanism for dealing with high levels of stress. You're just under a lot of stress.
Bullshit.
Saying I'm crazy? I called Johnny Lanier, called Cornell West, called my cousin who's a district leader in Brooklyn. You know, she said, "I just wouldn't bring up your legal education in front of the judge. It's not relevant to your case." That was my counsel. She was on my side. So a couple of days later, right, as I go from the Bronx, I go to Manhattan, like the whole Bain boat thing happens, I end up several days later, and I'm fast forwarding through like half of the show and most of the experience, but hitting on some key points I want to make sure you get. I end up in court 3 days later. Right. Finally, I'm able to get a hold of somebody. A professor of mine sends a lawyer, a former student of hers, to come and say, "Listen, I know Bryonn Bain. He wrote the story Walking While Black. You can find it on the internet. He wrote this other, you know, he's had experiences with the, he sued the NYPD, all this stuff." And the judge says, "Well, I don't know who he is. Is he Bryonn Bain or is he Anwar Bostic? I don't know. I have 2 sets of 2 birthdays, 2 social security codes, 2 everything. I don't know. I can't let him go. I don't know who he is. We got to get fingerprints again or something." The assistant district attorney, the guy on the other side of the aisle, right, the prosecution side, says to the judge, "Your Honor, due to a conflict of interest, I must recuse myself from this case." And the judge says, "Why?" He says, "Your Honor, I know the defendant standing before us today." The judge says, "Well, tell me who he is. I'm ordering you to tell me who he is, because I don't know who he is. Is he Anwar Bostic? Is he Bryonn Bain?" He says, "Your Honor, I know that he's Bryonn Bain because he was in my law school class at Harvard." And that's how I got out.
Lord.
Which was one of the most bittersweet things that has ever happened to me. Because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, freedom is the woman I want, woman I need. Okay, yeah, right? You know, I'm free. At the same time, I'm like, damn, if I was anybody else in my immigrant family, none of whom had the kind of privileged opportunities that I had, my black ass might still be locked up there. You know, so that realization for me was just unbelievable. You know, and it motivated me to really rethink what I wanted to do with my life. I had performed in prison since I was 15, but that wasn't anything political at all. It was just like, you know, we're 15, we're performing, we wanted to get some credits, we're gonna go and just, you know, rock the prison, captive audience, they ain't going nowhere. Right?
Oh, I have no idea.
You know, they're gonna love us, you know, we go
I was looking
holidays,
at
sing our
that
carols,
most
and be
wanted
like, you know, yo, happy
like,
Hanukkah,
during the summertime,
and
and
then,
on it was a guy
I didn't
named
know 10 years later I
Bryonn
would be
Bain.
there and not have the option
I
to
just
leave.
remembered it.
And, you know, so I started organizing artists to go into prisons around the country after I graduated from law school. Because I began to realize just how systemic the mass incarceration crisis is, how systemic what Angela Davis calls a prison industrial complex is, the web of institutions that have caused the country to be the largest incarcerator, the country that steals freedom away from folks, denies folks freedom more than any other country in the world, more than China, more than North Korea, more than Iraq, more than Iran, more than all these countries we criticize for their human rights violations. We put people in cages, all right, 2 million people. There's not even 2 million people in Trinidad and Tobago where our parents are from, all right? 8 million people, if you count the number of folks who are not only in prison but on probation and parole, the 3 Ps, right, are under the jurisdiction of the criminal justice system. It's a crisis, and if white men were incarcerated at the rate that black men and brown men, Latinos are incarcerated, it would be a national crisis. It would be a national crisis. Women are the fastest growing group to be incarcerated, you know? And so it's all these little things, all these pieces of the system that are part of the legacy of racism and white supremacy that we all inherit. We didn't create the system, but we inherited it. Now to figure out what to do with it, what to do about it, right? In the same way we inherit all these sexist traditions, these homophobic traditions. We got to figure out, are we going to just go with it as it is, right? Noam Chomsky said, it's